Okay, people, so Red One. We've been hearing about this film for a long ass time, right? It is the new one from Jake Kasdan, written by Chris Morgan. Supposedly, the story was, crafted by Hiram Garcia. Hiram works with The Rock at $7 production and just all of that, right? It is produced by Danny Garcia, Hiram Garcia, Jake Kasdan, Melvin Ma, Chris Morgan, and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. It's executive produced by Ainsley Davis and Barry H. Waldman. Right, co-produced by John Wildermuth and Sky Salem Robinson, along with Susan Urquhart, and associate produced by Shannon O'Neill. Henry Jackman took care of the music. Dan Mindel was on cinematography. It's edited by Steve Edwards, Mark Helfrich, and Tara Timpone. Nicole Abelera, Katie Doyle, and Janine McCarthy handled casting. Production design is Bill Brzezicki. Art direction is Ravi Bansal, Sean D. Bronson, Laura C. Cox, Chris Crane, Andreas Kubilian, Michael Gowan, Sam Mitchell, Brian Stoltz, and Michael Wiggle. Danielle Berman and Javed Noralua took care of set decoration. Michael Crow and Laura Jean Shannon for costume design. Our cast. Okie dokie. So, okay, Father Christmas, Nick Frost, is played by J.K. Simmons. His wife, Mrs. Claus, is played by Bonnie Hart. Then got his head of security, Callum Drift, played by Dwayne Johnson. All right, we've got Zoe Harlow, who's the head of mythical defense, right? It's something like that. I forget the exact name. Well, she is played by Lucy Liu. All right, we've got Agent Garcia, voiced by Ronaldo Fabarel. Right, then we got Jack O'Malley. Oh dear. Played by Chris Evans. Okay, so a younger version of Jack is played by Wyatt Hunt. The younger version, one of his friends, is played by Clayton Cooper. His uncle Rick is played by Mark Evan Jackson. Right now, Jack, the older Jack, has got a son, right, Dylan, played by Wesley Kimmel, and his ex, Olivia, played by Mary Elizabeth Ellis. Right, there's Ted, played by Nick Kroll. Gene, played by Lance Duffy. The barista, played by McKenna David. Christine, played by Samantha Benson. Janie Humstrom, played by Ashley Domage. Right, the hit instructor, played by Toadie Easterbrook. Who else do we have? Oh yeah, the weird influencer guy, played by John Rudaniski. I don't even know what that was about. That was some weird shit. Okay. Yeah. Yes. There is Grillia, played by Kernan Shipka, right? And Krampus, played by Christopher Hivju. I think that is our main group. Right, so the gist of the movie is after Santa Claus, codename Red One, is kidnapped, the North Pole's head of security must team up with the world's most infamous bounty hunter in a globe-trotting, action-packed mission to save Christmas. So yeah, that is it. Now, we start off, right, with a kid who doesn't believe in Christmas, and he's basically nicked keys off his uncle so he can show all of these cousins, I know where the presents are kept, right? Father Christmas doesn't deliver anything. This is where you get your presents. And that scene is fine, but we don't believe the younger version of Jack. Like, the delivery is all weird, right? It just doesn't gel well. Right, then we jump 30 years in the future, and now we're older Jack, right? And he's orchestrating this whole elaborate thing to steal something. You know, we see him steal coffee at the coffee shop, which you're just stealing random coffee. You don't know what the fuck that might be a sweet drink. Like, maybe you don't want milk. Right? You don't know what you're getting. So it's all a bit random. But we have him like stealing drinks, stealing food, and then going to orchestrate this big thing, which is, it's just one of those things, right, where you're just like, this is so convenient. Like, everything was just so convenient to pull off. We later in the film find out that he's called the Wolf, right? The world's most notorious thing. And that kind of thing is just, you just roll your eyes, right? Does everyone have to be the best there is, right? He's the world's best. Ugh, please, right? It just all felt a bit dumb, which is fine. You can have like these ludicrous things if the story, everything just plays really well. And unfortunately for Red One, it felt devoid of emotion. Felt like there's a scene with Callum speaking with Santa, right? And it's all about like the naughty list and the kids and why they're doing it. It felt so wooden. That conversation should have been like this big emotional thing, right? It should have been one of them speeches like Maximus delivers in the Colosseum in Gladiator. You know what I mean? Just one of them speeches. It's flat. There's no emotion. There's nothing. It's just two people saying words. And that's at the very start. So after that, I was just like, oh, God. I've got to sit through 2 hours of this. You know? It's, yeah. I mean, the idea of Red One is kind of, that wasn't bad. I thought that's kind of fun, right? Because it's like the president, right? POTUS. That's how they're kind of saying this is Father Christmas, right? He's got a fleet of security. He's got this team, cars, planes, just all of this stuff. And you're like, okay, yeah, that's fun. All right, I can get behind that. But then when we see Father Christmas World, I don't know, oh, the North Pole. I was like, there's a word, they call it something, the North Pole. We see the North Pole. Didn't look magical, right? It looked like a weird corporate city, you know? Like there's like skyscraper, this big skyscraper that looked like it's a cross between Empire State Building and the Eiffel Tower. It's very odd, so we it didn't feel special, you know like if you had no imagination, you're trying to craft something, I'd say you would take like Rivendell or Newman or like something like that, because there was a magic behind those cities. But do something cool. Do something where it feels like, yeah, this is where Father Christmas would live with all these peoples. But what we see, it, yeah, it's weird. We get, because I think the idea was to create this franchise. You know what I mean? Create this world. Supposedly, I'm not sure that's going to happen. I don't think anyone's liking this film. I mean, if it does big numbers, it doesn't matter if people don't like it. They could still do more, right? And then hopefully they right the ship. I don't know. I mean, it is Christmas. It's a Christmas film. So maybe, right, we get a load of families go, kids may enjoy it, right? I think that's the thing. We can be mad skeptical, right? Maybe little kids enjoy the heck of it, right? But we have this world, right, with this elf, right? It's a kind of security that look after the mythological world. I forget what it stands for, but we have this, and we have all of these other things, but it always felt like we're just adding shit in, without building it, without laying a foundation. It's just like, oh yeah, by the way, this person can do this. Oh yeah, this person can do this as well. And it just felt like, oh, to get out of this situation, we're just doing this now, right? Without building it, without alluding to it, layering it in. It's just like, oh, we'll add on this, we'll add on that, we'll add on this, we'll add on that. That's what this was. So it just felt kind of lazy. We just thinking, why is this globe trotting? It just felt it didn't need to be that. Right? It's just like you're doing it for the sake of it. Right? Being like, oh yeah, we shot a film in this place and this place and this place. Like, does the story really warrant that? I don't think it did. I don't think it needed to do that. Right? You've got these fun little elements like the toy store doors. Right? Things like that. You're like, oh, okay, that's kind of fun. That's interesting. But just nothing else was enough to really carry this. Right? We've got the whole thing with Jack's son. It was just like, oh, okay. All right, I guess. And I don't even know what Santa was saying. He does this kind of war cry, like ooh la la, or so, I don't even know what it is. But it's just like, okay, but what is that? What is he doing? Is he summoning an ancient power? Like, what is it? You know, they don't. Nothing gets explained, and I'm saying, when I say explained, as I say numerous times, right? We don't need this thing to be broken down, but just be like, oh man, you know what I mean? Because you've got Callum and Jack, right? Jack knows none of this shit. So Callum, he might go to, you know, Callum, like, yo, what's he doing? And Callum could be like, yo, he's summoning the Christmas past. Or the something, right? And you'd be like, okay, I get, yeah, boom, makes sense. You know, just something. But we get nothing. We don't care about the characters. They're just people, you know? It just doesn't work as a magical film, right? Or creating this world of magic and myth and lore. It just doesn't do it. It just feels stale. Feels really stale. Wooden dialogue, some wooden acting, you know, and some lackluster effects. Right? We've got all of these different like the polar bear, Agent what's the polar bear? The polar bear was Agent Garcia. Agent Garcia was fine. But I mean, Gryla, that was all kind of weird. Right? The snowmen felt just a bit meh. You know? That was the thing. When we have Callum running through the city, it's just like, oh, what? He can jump really far. Like, what? Like, there's a bit when he's like, you think I'm human? Right? But it's just, okay, but what are you? Are you an elf? Like, what the fuck are you? You know what I mean? That was the thing. That was and what did they build the city with loads of slides in it, right? Or are those something else? I don't even know, right? I don't even know. It just felt like it was this great opportunity that you let slip through your hands. You know, that's what this felt like. But there you go. Red one. I think maybe little kids might enjoy it. Maybe little kids will enjoy it. But be warned. It's not a whole load of Christmas magic here.